Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Northwest Craftsman. I've got lights in my shop now. Today I'm going to be going ahead and doing the installation, unboxing, and overview for these particular lights. They're from JC-LGL. They sent them to me. Full disclosure, they sent them to me to do a review on them, but I was already looking at buying some lights from them, so these are exactly the type of lights that I was looking to get in my shop. Let's go through some of the details. So you can find these lights either on their website or on Amazon, and they come in multiple different packs. I chose to get a 6-pack because that was what I needed for my shop. Opening up each one of the individual lights, you'll find a couple of different parts, all very, very basic. The first thing that you're going to see is a set of instructions, which walks you through how to do the assembly. You're also going to have this hook, which hooks on to the top. You have a safety cable, which will keep your light from falling from the ceiling, just in case it falls off the hook. And then last but not least, you have the light itself. It is a decently heavy unit, so be careful as you're pulling it out of the bag that you don't drop it. These lights come with a regular US style plug and also have a 0 to 10 volt wire if you have that dimmer switch in your shop. One piece of hardware that you will have to supply on your own is the hook, which hooks onto the other hook just like this. The first step in the installation is to go ahead and loosen up a set screw and then thread their hook into the top of the light. From there, it really is just as easy as running it up to your ceiling, putting your hook in place, and then plugging it into the light. But in the meantime, while I am hanging these up, I wanted to go through and talk about a little bit of the lighting science that helped me to choose which lights I need. When you start digging into lighting, you're going to see terms like lux, lumens, foot candles, etc. But here's what all of those actually mean. So starting with a lumen, this is the SI unit for luminous flux, which technically speaking is the amount of light emitted per second in a unit solid angle of 1 steradian from a uniform source of 1 candela. That's a mouthful, but effectively it's just brightness normalized. Okay, something a little bit closer to what we're going to be using with our lighting is going to be lux, especially if you're in a metric part of the world. This is just the SI unit for a luminance, which is 1 lumen per square meter. For the non-metric parts of the world, you may see this in terms of foot candles, which is the imperial unit for luminance, which is 1 lumen per square foot, or about 10.7 lux. Because I happen to live in one of those non-metric parts of the world, the rest of this is going to be in foot candles. So now we need to decide how many lumens per square foot we need, or how many foot candles do we need. And depending on your space, the lighting requirements are different. In hallways, you generally want 5 to 10 foot candles, kitchens 30 to 40, and a workspace about 80 to 100. More lighting means that you can see more detail and it's a little bit easier to work on different things. So for my shop space, it is 36 by 36, which is about 1,300 square feet. Now, if I've got 6 of these lights at 33,600 lumens a piece, that gives me about 155 foot candles or 1668 lux. Now, the reason I'm going over the minimum recommendation is because of how high my ceilings are. If you don't want to have to do the math, JC-LGL does have a calculator for this as well. Now with the lights installed and the explanations out of the way, here's what it looked like before the lights were on in my shop and after. Now a little bit more dramatically at night in my shop, because this is when I'm going to be using them. This is before and after. Now, there's a couple of features of these lights that I wanted to test more specifically, and one of them being the adjustability. In this set, I've got 3 different settings on them, high, medium, and low, but honestly, I didn't really see a difference in the settings, so I decided to go up and actually adjust the lights so that I can see what the difference was on camera and just visually in my shop. Now, while I'm climbing up there, I wanted to show you guys what it looks like on the top of the light. There's basically a 3-way switch that you can click into 3 different positions, high, medium, low, corresponding to 240 watts, 200 watts, and 150 watts. So this one is currently set to 200 watts. This is 240 watts. And then all the way down to 150 watts. And as you can see, it does make a little bit of a difference, but honestly, functionally in the shop, I didn't really notice that big of a difference. So if you don't actually need that much, 150 watts is probably going to be fine. Now, the reason that I make the distinction on going to 150 versus 240 watts is that these do actually suck down a decent amount of power. 240 watts a piece over 6 lights gets me almost 1500 watts. So here's my power meter when I turn the lights on. You can see it goes from almost 600 to just about 2100 on the spot. It's effectively like running a space heater in my shop while those are on. One of the other features that I wanted to test is these lights being flicker free, which for the average person doesn't really impact anything, but as a YouTuber, it makes a pretty big difference. If you notice the numbers changing in the lower right hand corner of the screen, that is me adjusting my shutter speed and not seeing any difference at all. And here's me leaving it at 1/100 and waving my hand in front to see if there's any motion blur, and there's not. There's no flicker. These are awesome. Now, the surefire way to find flicker is to run a time lapse, which is a half-hour time lapse that I was running, and normally you would see those lines progressing from top to bottom or bottom to top, depending on the lights, but again, in this one, there's nothing. Well guys, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I am stoked to have these lights in my shop, and honestly, they seem like they're a really, really good fit. I've got good, nice, even lighting all the way across my shop. The shadows aren't bad. For me as a YouTuber, it's also flicker free, which makes it really nice because I'm not seeing these lines show up all over the place, and it makes filming a lot easier. That may or may not matter to you if they're flicker free, but they do seem to be flicker free. But I love them. Honestly, it is just astonishing what a difference getting good lighting in the shop makes. If you guys are looking to get your own lights, there's a wide variety of lights to choose from, and it really depends on what space you're trying to light, whether that's in your home or in a shop, and what you're doing in your shop, and just how much you actually need. Go to their website. I've got a link in my description. They've got a whole bunch of different options, and if you reach out to them, they can help you design the lights for exactly your space and tell you what they need, what you need. They've got a software suite that helps them to do all of this and go through all those calculations that we had talked about. So highly, highly, highly recommend them. I mean, honestly, this is awesome. So yeah, full disclosure, they reached out to me and they gave me these lights so I could do a review on it, but they are exactly what I was looking for, and they helped me to get exactly what I needed. So anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave it in the description down below, in the comment section down below. And thank you guys again for joining me. We're getting much closer to doing woodworking and getting the shop set up. So again, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. Talk to you next time. Bye.